Hey folks, I'm very sorry that I wasn't really posting for the last few weeks or so. If you know me personally, and if you've been following this page for quite some time, you would know this by now, but I work for TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival. And maybe you're watching this video in the future, who knows, but I'm pretty much posting this the day after the festival ended. So if I seem tired, if my voice seems kind of like different than usual, it's because I'm running on fumes. I am extremely exhausted, but I had the best time. This was probably the best ever festival that I ever worked at. And I had a blast. And it was thanks to the people that I was working with, the incredible individuals that I met throughout the festival. I really wish I could do a video where I could shout out people, but if I were to do that kind of video, that would be like hours on end. But just wanted to say thank you to all the people that stopped by the building and also watched films and I worked with. But whenever the festival ends, since I started this page, I always do a recap video of all the films that I've seen. And last year, for 2024, I actually watched 20 films on the dot. And this year, one of my goals was to watch more than 20, but unfortunately I got a little bit busy during the festival outside of the festival itself. So I had to pretty much end with a result of 20 as well this year, which is nothing bad, but I just kind of wanted to beat my score, but whatever. So here is a recap / reviews of the films that I've seen throughout TIFF 50. So these are the movies that I got to see during the festival. And again, some of them don't have an official poster yet because some of these movies are not supposed to come out anytime soon. Some of them are literally going to come out a week or two after festival, but some of them I don't think they have an official release date. So again, one of the best things about going to a film festival in general is sometimes you're seeing a film that audiences or anyone around the world might not ever see or might not see for quite some time. So you kind of have bragging rights in a way. Or it's also kind of a cool way to see a film before it gets fully edited to the point where it's going to be officially released. Because sometimes the film festival version of a film is way different than the version that you will see once it comes out on physical media or on streaming or in theaters. So yeah, here is my brief recaps and reviews of the films that I saw at the festival at TIFF 50. To start off the festival, I started off with a comedy, which was a nice and pleasant surprise because usually the first film that I watch at the festival is like maybe a drama or a very serious movie. So it was nice to start off with a comedy. I had a blast with it. It's called Driver's Ed. It's a nice throwback and send up to the films of the 90s and early 2000s when it comes to road trip comedies. I thought the characters were charming. I thought the story was very pleasant and very easy to follow. And yeah, I had a blast with it. I think it's going to release worldwide very soon. But yeah, once it does release, go check it out. So the next film that I saw at the festival happened to be the world premiere of John Candy, I Like Me, which is directed by Colin Hanks and chronicles the life of John Candy, who is one of the most beloved and most recognizable Canadians in film history. Incredible documentary, very emotional. And even though I'm not really that familiar with John Candy's work outside of the John Hughes movies that he's done in the past, just hearing the stories of these famous people talking about John Candy was incredible. And, you know, it made me tear up at moments because, again, John Candy was such a lovable human being and he meant well to the world. And it's so sad he was gone too soon. But yeah, great documentary. And I think it's going to release very soon. The next film that I saw at the festival was called The Wizard of the Kremlin, which is an adaptation of a very famous book. And to be honest with you, I thought it was just okay. I was a little distracted by the fact that outside of the main characters, everyone else in this film had a very thick and noticeable Russian accent. And the main characters had an English accent. So it kind of confused me as to if these characters were born in the UK or something, but they weren't. The performances are okay. I think it's just a passable film. I think it's going to release worldwide on Disney Plus very soon. But yeah, it was decent, but I wouldn't say amazing. The next film that I saw at the festival was called Fuse, which is directed by David Mackenzie, who also directed Relay, which I really loved at last year's festival. This is a very efficient, very entertaining 90 minutes or so thriller. Every minute counts. This is such a fun watch, but I wouldn't say it's an incredible film. But I had a lot of fun, and I also went to the world premiere of this as well, so that was really cool as well. The next film that I saw at the festival was called The Lost Bus, directed by Paul Greengrass, and starring Matthew McConaughey and America Ferrera in the lead roles. Now, I'm a huge fan of Paul Greengrass. I think he's a master when it comes to putting you in the epicenter of the situation in hand. This is a very thrilling and very intense film from pretty much the halfway point till the end. I had to take some breaths because it was intense, and especially watching it in IMAX was incredible. The movie's going to be coming to theaters worldwide on September 19th, and it's going to be streaming worldwide pretty much in October. So, again, don't miss it in theaters. This is a very intense movie and really, really shot well and just really acted well, too. The next film that I saw at the festival was called Rental Family. This is such an incredible movie. I got emotional multiple times during this movie. I think I cried 3 times while watching this movie. It is such a great emotional drama slash comedy. Performances are very splendid. I thought that the story was very well done, and there are very heart touching moments in this movie too. And yeah, I think this is going to be a crowd pleaser when it comes out worldwide in November. Really great movie. I'm surprised it didn't get in the top 3 placings for People's Choice, but yeah, I thought it was very solid and one of my favorites at the festival as well. The next film that I saw at the festival is called Cancelled, the Paula Deen story. I thought it was just okay. For a documentary, it is well made, but I was just kind of confused as to why one timeline was progressing and then we jumped back into almost the same timeline and progress forward again. It was kind of a choice, in my personal opinion. I thought it was just okay. It was an interesting subject to cover, but I thought it was just okay. The next film that I saw at the festival was called Nuremberg. As a person that really likes historical films or films that are touching upon real life subjects or events, I thought this was very solidly made. It kind of feels like a thriller than a drama. Very well acted, very well paced, very solid film overall, and I think that people will like this movie once it releases worldwide. The next film that I saw at the festival was Frankenstein. This was one of the most hyped up films at the festival this year, and rightfully so. It's a very beautiful film to look at on the big screen. When I saw this on the big screen, it was like looking at postcards and just beautiful sets. It's just a pristine movie, and I think it's going to win all the awards in terms of its production. And obviously the story is very familiar because I think everyone around the world knows the story of Frankenstein, but nice twist added into the story, very well acted. Again, a beautiful film to look at and just a really great watch in a theater. My bias of being a big Lily James fan aside, I thought that Swiped was a very solid biopic, and I thought that she was great. I did not know all of these things happened to this person, but I'm very glad that they've become such a force of nature in the tech community. And I highly recommend this biopic once it releases on Hulu and Disney+. And then the next film that I saw at the festival was called Homebound. If you are familiar with Tamil cinema movies, you will like this movie because it's not really a regular Bollywood film. It's a more grounded movie. It's a drama. It kind of reminded me of Pariyerum Perumal meets Anjade in a way. Once you see this film, you'll understand, but very solid film overall. The next film that I saw at the festival is called Sacrifice. This was one of my personal favorites at the festival. Imagine if they mixed in The Menu, Knock at the Cabin, and Bane's arc in The Dark Knight Rises. That's all I'll say. Really entertaining film and one of my favorites at TIFF 50. The next film that I saw at the festival was another world premiere. It's called Easy's Waltz. And to be honest with you, I thought it was just okay. It was not incredible. It was not horrible. It was just kind of standard. Vince Vaughn is good here, and even though I'm a huge fan of the director slash writer here, he wrote the first season of True Detective, which I think is one of the greatest seasons of all time in TV history. This was kind of a disappointing directorial debut, but still entertaining to a certain degree, but I wouldn't say an amazing movie, just okay. The next film that I got to see at the festival was actually the People's Choice winner, Hamnet. I got to see it a couple days ahead before it got named as the People's Choice winner. And this was one of my favorites at the festival as well. Very beautiful, very emotional. And if Jessie Buckley does not win the Academy Award in 2026, I am rioting because she is a force of nature here. She's incredible. This is her movie. Great, great movie. Within the same day of watching another Shakespearean movie, I saw Hamlet. Riz Ahmed is a force of nature, but to be honest with you, I thought it was just good. I was a little distracted by the Old English in modern day, but decent and good film. One of the biggest surprises for me at the festival this year was Adulthood. I had a blast while watching this movie. It was funny, it was surprising, and it was a really nicely made dark comedy. Another solid film that I saw at this festival was New Year's Rev. As a big Green Day fan growing up, this was great. If you're a Knives Out fan like myself, you will love Wake Me Up Dead Man. It is excellent. And then I saw the Milli Vanilli type of story in California Schemin', which I thought was good. And Nirvana the band, the show, the movie, I thought was creative.